Elena stood in the opulent penthouse, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The city lights twinkled below through the floor-to-ceiling windows, but she barely noticed them. Her hand rested protectively on her still flat stomach, the positive pregnancy test burning a hole in her pocket. She had rehearsed this moment 100 times, imagining Marcus's joy, his strong arms wrapping around her. But now, facing him, doubt crept in. Their worlds were so different, hers with 2 jobs and night classes, scraping by in a tiny apartment. His, Marcus Vanderbilt, CEO of a tech empire, surrounded by luxury and power. Marcus turned from his desk, his steel gray eyes narrowing as he saw her expression. "What is it, Elena?" His voice was sharp, laced with the exhaustion of a long day closing deals worth millions. She swallowed hard, forcing the words out. "I'm pregnant." The silence that followed was deafening. Marcus froze, his face hardening into a mask of suspicion. "Pregnant?" he repeated, his tone dripping with disdain. "How much do you want?" Elena's world tilted. "What?" she whispered, confusion and hurt crashing over her like a wave. He stood, crossing the room with predatory grace, his tailored suit accentuating his untouchable aura. "Come on, Elena, don't play innocent. How much to make this go away? 50,000? 100? Name your price, and my lawyers will handle the rest. Sign away any claims, and we both move on." Tears stung her eyes, but she blinked them back. "You think I planned this? That I'm trapping you for money?" "What else should I think?" he snarled, his voice rising. "You're not the first woman to try this. My family has seen it all. My father warned me about girls like you, seeing dollar signs instead of someone. You played the independent act perfectly, refusing gifts and paying your way. This is a classic setup for the big reveal." Each word was a dagger, twisting deeper. Elena had fallen for him 3 months ago, drawn to the vulnerability he showed in quiet moments. Talking about his mother's early death, she thought he saw her as more than her background, more than the foster kid who fought for everything. But now, his contempt laid bare the truth. She was just another potential threat in his privileged world. She said, "I'm not like that," her voice steady despite the storm inside. "I came to tell you because you deserve to know. I'm keeping the baby with or without you." His laugh was harsh, echoing off the marble floors. "Then you're in for a fight you can't win. My attorneys will bury you in paperwork, paternity tests, and custody battles. Is that what you want for our complication?" "Complication," she echoed, the word tasting like poison. "That's your child you're talking about. A child I didn't ask for." He poured himself a whiskey, his hands steady as stone. "Take the money, Elena. Start over somewhere else. Give the kid a life without the mess." But Elena saw the future in his eyes. A life where her child grew up as an unwanted burden, questioned and dismissed. She straightened her spine, drawing on the strength forged from years in foster care, from parents lost too young. "Number, I don't want your money or your lawyers. Consider yourself free, Marcus. You're off the hook." She turned toward the door, each step a monumental effort. Behind her, he called out, "Wait, if not money, what do you want?" Elena paused, hand on the handle, memorizing his face one last time. The man who whispered promises in the dark made her believe in something real. "I'm going to raise my child to be nothing like you. Goodbye." The elevator descended like a cage, floors blurring as tears finally fell. Outside, the night air slapped her face, cold and sharp. She wrapped her arms around herself, around the tiny life inside, and vowed silently. Her baby would never feel unwanted, never stand in a penthouse being bartered like a problem. She would be enough. By dawn, her bags were packed. By noon, she was on a bus heading west, savings clutched tight, future uncertain. As the city faded, a fierce freedom bloomed amid the grief. She would build from nothing, prove love didn't need wealth or a father who saw them as currency. Above, Marcus pressed his hand to the glass, watching her vanish into the crowd. Something vital slipped away, but he crushed the feeling. His father had drilled it into him. Trust no one, especially women who got too close. Years ago, a girlfriend had betrayed him, leaking company secrets to a rival for a payoff. The scar ran deep, twisting vulnerability into paranoia. He returned to his desk, burying himself in reports. Sophia, his sister, called later that evening. "You sound off. What happened with Elena?" "Nothing. It's handled." "You're a lousy liar," she sighed. "Dad's warnings aren't gospel, you know. Not every woman is out to get us." This one was. He hung up, the lie tasting bitter. Deep down, doubt flickered. Elena's shattered expression didn't look like a con artist's. But admitting that meant questioning everything his father taught him, the walls that kept him safe in a cutthroat world. Months blurred into routine, meetings, expansions, empty nights. Dreams haunted him, Elena walking away, her hand on her belly. He woke sweating, pushing it down. His father praised him for handling the situation cleanly. Good job protecting the family legacy, but the hollow ache grew. Sophia pressed during a family dinner. "I heard about Elena. Whatever Dad said, you should reach out. She's gone. End of story. You're miserable. Admit you made a mistake." He walked away, but her words lingered. What if Elena had been different? What if his fear had cost him something real? Across the country, Elena scrubbed counters in a dingy diner, her belly swelling with twins. The ultrasound had revealed 2 girls, terror and wonder mingling. How would she afford it all? But their tiny heartbeats on the screen had sealed her resolve. Clara, the weathered manager, slipped her extra shifts and sandwiches, recognizing a fighter. "You got family helping?" Clara asked one night. "Just me." Clara nodded, no judgment. "People like us make our own." Elena collapsed into bed each dawn, exhaustion bone deep, but the kicks inside reminded her why. These girls would know their worth, unbound by class or betrayal. As the bus rolled away that fateful day, Elena whispered to her unborn children, "We'll be okay, better than okay. We'll be unbreakable." Little did she know, the vow she broke was not hers, but the invisible chain Marcus's fear had forged, and one day fate would shatter it completely, forcing them all into a collision, and neither could escape. Elena scrubbed the diner counter at 3 a.m., the neon sign outside flickering like her dwindling energy. Her hands ached, calloused from hours of wiping tables and washing dishes. The clock ticked toward the end of her graveyard shift, but rest was a luxury she couldn't afford. In 4 hours, she'd start her morning job at a daycare, chasing toddlers while her twins, Aria and Luna, slept at home under Clara's watchful eye. Her night classes loomed after that, each lecture a step toward a degree that felt like chasing a mirage. Her belly, now visibly swollen, strained against her uniform. Twins, the ultrasound had confirmed weeks ago, 2 girls whose heartbeats filled her with equal parts love and dread. How would she manage 2 of everything on her meager savings? Clara, the diner's weathered manager, refilled coffee pots nearby. "You look like death warmed over, girl. Take your break." Elena hesitated. Every minute off was money lost, but her back screamed for relief. She sank onto the employee bench, hand cradling her belly. Aria and Luna kicked, a reminder of why she pushed through exhaustion. Clara slid a sandwich across the counter, unasked but welcome. "No family helping out?" "Just me," Elena said, biting into the food. Her parents had died when she was young, leaving her to navigate foster care alone. Marcus's betrayal had cut deeper because she dared to hope he was her family, someone who'd stay. Clara nodded, her silence understanding. She'd seen enough struggle to recognize one of her own. Across the country, Marcus woke in his penthouse to a silence that felt heavier each day. The city skyline sparkled below, but it offered no comfort. His morning routine was mechanical. Shower, suit, black coffee, briefing papers. His phone buzzed with 3 missed calls from Sophia, his sister, who'd somehow heard about Elena. He ignored them, unwilling to face her questions. "You're being an idiot," she'd said last time he answered. "Talk to her. You're miserable." "I'm fine," he'd lied, cutting her off. Work consumed him. Deals, mergers, boardrooms, where he could control outcomes, unlike the chaos Elena had left in her wake. His father's weekly dinners were a grim ritual, the older man gloating over Marcus's handling of the situation. "You dodged a bullet, son. Women like that only want one thing." Marcus nodded, pushing food around his plate, but Elena hadn't wanted his money. She'd walked away, proud and shattered, leaving him with doubts he couldn't voice. Had she been different? Her broken expression haunted him in quiet moments, refusing to fade like a fever he couldn't shake. Elena finished her shift in the diner and trudged to the daycare, the cold biting through her thin coat. The twins were showing now, making every step heavier. A coworker, a woman with a sharp tongue and sharper prejudices, muttered as Elena passed. Shouldn't be working like that, not with her kind. Elena ignored it, her jaw tight. She'd faced those whispers before, her brown skin marking her as an outsider in this small town. But she smiled for the daycare kids, hiding the sting, knowing Arya and Luna needed her strength. At home, she collapsed for an hour before classes, her textbooks spread across a wobbly table. Arya and Luna's ultrasound photo sat beside them, a talisman against despair. She'd named them already, Arya for her fierce spirit, Luna for her quiet wonder. They'd be born soon, and the math of 2 cribs, car seats, and futures felt impossible. Yet, their kicks grounded her. "You're mine," she whispered. "I'll be enough." Clara stopped by that evening, bringing groceries Elena couldn't afford. She said, "You're doing too much," eyeing Elena's swollen ankles. "Those babies need you alive." "I need the hours," Elena replied, voice tight. "Bills don't pay themselves." Clara sighed, slipping her a 20. "People like us keep going, but don't break." Elena nodded, gratitude warring with pride. She'd survived foster care, heartbreak, and now this. She'd survive for her girls. Meanwhile, Marcus's dreams betrayed him. Elena walked away, her hand on her belly, his hand pressed against cold glass. He woke gasping, the image burned into his mind. Sophia cornered him at a family event, her eyes blazing. "I know what you did to Elena. You pushed away someone honest." "She was a risk," he snapped, echoing his father's mantra. "You don't know. I know you're empty without her." Sophia shot back. "You're too proud to admit you were wrong." He turned away, her words slicing through his defenses. Work was safe, predictable, but late at night, doubt crept in. Elena's refusal of his money hadn't felt like a con. Wouldn't she have taken the payout if she'd been after his wealth? The question gnawed, unwelcome and persistent. Elena's labor came early, 6 weeks premature, in a blur of pain and panic. Clara held her hand through the chaos, cutting the cords when Arya and Luna arrived. Arya wailed, announcing herself to the world. Luna blinked quietly, taking it all in. Elena held them, tears streaming, their gray eyes, Marcus's eyes, staring up at her. "You're here," she whispered. "You're perfect." The hospital bills loomed, but Clara helped with paperwork and finding aid programs Elena didn't know existed. Back home, in a cramped apartment, Elena built a life from scraps. Dollar store blankets, second-hand cribs, and love that cost nothing but gave everything. Arya and Luna grew, their personalities emerging. Arya bold, Luna thoughtful. At night when they slept, Elena studied, her degree a distant beacon. One evening, barely 3, Arya pointed at a photo of Elena alone. "Where's Daddy?" Elena's heart clenched. "It isn't very easy, sweetheart. We're enough, just us." But Arya's question lingered, a crack in the wall Elena had built. She pushed it down, focusing on survival. The diner, daycare, and classes were a battle against poverty and judgment. A landlord once sneered at her single mother status, implying she'd fail. Elena paid rent early that month, proving him wrong. Marcus, meanwhile, closed another deal, his empire growing but his life shrinking. His father's approval felt hollow, his sister's disappointment louder. "You need to date again," his father said. Someone from our world." "I'm not interested," Marcus replied, his voice flat. Elena's face flashed in his mind, her warmth, her defiance. Had he been wrong? The doubt was a splinter impossible to ignore. As Elena tucked Arya and Luna into bed, she whispered a promise. "You'll never feel unwanted. You'll always know your worth." Miles away, Marcus stared out his window, the city a glittering lie. He didn't know about Arya and Luna, and he didn't know Elena was building a fortress of love against all odds. But fate was patient, and their paths were destined to collide, shattering the parallel lives they'd carved out in the shadow of a broken vow. Elena adjusted her blazer, her reflection in the hotel bathroom mirror showing a woman transformed by 8 years of relentless struggle. Dr. Elena Martinez, child development specialist, read the conference badge around her neck. The title still felt surreal, earned through sleepless nights of study. At the same time, Aria and Luna slept, papers written in stolen moments and sheer willpower. Her twins, now 7, stood beside her in the bustling convention center, matching outfits, distinct in color. Aria in vibrant red, Luna in soft blue. Their choice was a quiet assertion of individuality, despite their identical faces. "Mom, can we see the robotics exhibit?" Aria asked, her energy barely contained, bouncing on her toes. After my presentation, Elena promised to smooth Luna's hair. Luna squeezed her hand, offering silent support, her perceptive eyes catching Elena's nerves. The conference hall hummed with educators and researchers, a world Elena had fought to enter. Her presentation, a modest slot on childhood resilience in single-parent homes, was personal, born from her battles. She'd poured her heart into the research, every statistic reflecting her life with Aria and Luna. "You've got this, Mom," Aria whispered fiercely. "You're going to nail it." Elena smiled, their faith anchoring her. She set up her slides in a small room, 20 attendees trickling in. Taking a deep breath, she launched into her talk, her voice steady, her data compelling. Questions followed, thoughtful and engaged, and pride bloomed in her chest as applause rippled. She'd done this, built something despite the odds. The girls tugged her toward the main exhibition hall, alive with interactive displays on science and technology. Aria darted to a robotics booth, her chatter filling the air. At the same time, Luna lingered at an art installation, sketching in her ever-present notebook. Elena followed, savoring their joy, a rare break from their tightly budgeted life. "Look, Mom," Luna called, pointing at a holographic display of ocean waves. "It's like my drawings, but moving." Elena moved closer, her smile freezing as the crowd parted. Across the hall, Marcus Vanderbilt stood on a main stage, mid-speech, his presence commanding even from a distance. His suit was less formal than she remembered, but those gray eyes, mirrors of Luna's, locked onto her for a fleeting moment. Her breath caught, the world shrinking to that single point of contact. 8 years had vanished, and she was back in his penthouse, his sneer cutting her open. "Mom, you okay?" Aria's voice broke through, sharp with concern. Elena couldn't speak, memories crashing over her. His accusations, the money offered like an insult, the nights she'd cried herself to sleep. "We need to go," she said, her voice tight. "Now." "But the robots," Aria protested, her face falling. "Now," Elena repeated, grabbing their hands. Something in her tone silenced further argument. They moved toward the exit, Elena's heels clicking urgently on polished floors, her heart hammering. She'd avoided Marcus deliberately, blocking his name from searches, erasing him from their lives. But here he was, real and close, a threat to the world she'd built. On stage, Marcus faltered mid-sentence. A flash of dark hair, a familiar posture, 2 small figures trailing a woman. His chest constricted, the speech evaporating. He scanned the crowd, losing his place, recovering with an awkward pause. Near the exit, a woman was moving fast, flanked by girls. His mouth went dry. They were the right age, the right height. It couldn't be. He forced himself to finish, words mechanical, applause barely registering. He pushed through the crowd when he stepped off stage, chasing a ghost. "Sir, everything okay?" his assistant called. But Marcus waved him off. "I need 5 minutes." He searched the hall, knowing it was futile. A woman with 2 daughters, coincidence, surely. But the way she moved, urgent, almost afraid, screamed recognition. A conference organizer grabbed him, pulling him toward another panel. Marcus went, his mind elsewhere, replaying that glimpse. Those girls, their eyes, had they been gray? Outside, Elena bundled Aria and Luna into a taxi, her hands trembling as she gave the address. "Mom, what's wrong?" Luna asked, her quiet voice piercing. "Nothing, baby, just tired." But the twins exchanged a glance, their silent communication impenetrable. They knew she was lying, In the taxi, Elena leaned back, eyes closed. Marcus's face burned into her mind. He'd been so close to her girls, to the life she'd protected. Arya and Luna looked like her, brown skin, curly hair, but their eyes, those steel gray eyes, were his. Anyone who knew him could see it. Elena tucked the girls into bed at the hotel, holding them longer than usual. "We love you, Mom," Arya said, fierce as ever. "Whatever's wrong, we've got you." Tears burned Elena's eyes. "I love you both more than anything." Luna whispered, "We know, always have." But as they slept, Elena sat in the dark, phone in hand, panic rising. She should run again, pack up, vanish as she had 8 years ago. But Arya and Luna had friends here, a school, and fragile stability. Uprooting them would break their hearts. Her phone buzzed, an unknown number. She let it go to voicemail, dread pooling in her stomach. The message played. "Elena, it's Marcus. I saw you today. I know about the girls. Meet me tomorrow at noon at the coffee shop on Pine Street. Come alone." Her hands went numb. He knew. The walls she'd built crumbled in seconds. She replayed the message, his voice unmistakable, tearing open wounds she thought healed. Across the city, Marcus stood at his penthouse window, staring at the skyline. Sophia's call went unanswered. The woman in the crowd haunted him. The girls' faces, a question he couldn't ignore. Had he seen what he feared? Was Elena hiding his daughters? Sleep eluded him, the image of her urgent departure replaying. Something primal screamed he'd missed something vital. At dawn, he called his assistant. "Get me the conference attendee list, every presenter, every name. Focus on child development specialists, women, anyone named Elena." Elena held her sleeping daughters in her hotel room, their warmth grounding her. Tomorrow, everything would change. She'd face Marcus, protect Arya and Luna, no matter the cost. The collision she'd dreaded had arrived, and there was no running from destiny this time. Marcus sat in his penthouse office, the city skyline a blur beyond the glass. Sleep had evaded him, the image of Elena and the two girls burning in his mind. Their gray eyes, his own mirrors, had sparked a certainty he couldn't shake. 8 years ago, Elena had walked out, pregnant, defiant, refusing his money. Now those girls, twins, the right age, were hers. Were they his? The question gnawed, a splinter in his resolve. He'd buried doubts about Elena under his father's warnings, but last night's glimpse at the conference had cracked that foundation. He needed answers, now. At dawn, his assistant delivered the conference attendee list. Marcus scrolled through names, his pulse quickening. Dr. Elena Martinez, Child Development Specialist. Her badge photo was small but unmistakable, older, polished, but her. He clicked her presentation abstract. Resilience in Children of Single Mothers. The irony stung like a slap. Single mother, twins. His mind raced, calculating. 8 years since she left, pregnant. Those girls would be 7, precisely the age of the ones he'd seen. His hands shook as he dialed his assistant. "Get me everything on Dr. Elena Martinez, where she lives, works, and where her children go to school. I need a complete background, legal, now." "Sir, that's a gray area legally," his assistant hesitated. "Make it legal," Marcus snapped, his voice cold. "Please do it." He paced, memories flooding back. Elena's shattered expression when he'd accused her of trapping him. His father's voice always in his ear. "Women like her see dollar signs, not you." A betrayal from a college girlfriend, paid by a rival to steal company secrets, had scarred him. Elena's pregnancy had felt like history repeating, a trap he'd escaped. But had he? Her refusal of his money, her proud exit, those weren't the actions of a gold digger. Doubt clawed at him, but anger burned hotter. If those girls were his, she'd hidden them for years. He stole his chance to know them. That was unforgivable. Across town, Elena sat in her hotel room, and the girls were asleep in the next bed. Her phone lay heavy in her hand, Marcus's voicemail replaying. "I know about the girls. Meet me tomorrow at noon." Her stomach churned. She'd built a life without him, shielding Arya and Luna from his rejection. But those gray eyes, his eyes, could betray them to anyone who looked closely. She'd run once, 8 years ago, to protect her unborn children. Running again would mean uprooting Arya and Luna's stability. Friends, school, the tiny apartment they called home. She couldn't do that to them. But staying meant facing Marcus, his wealth, his power. She stood, checking the locks, a habit from harder years. The girls stirred, Luna's quiet voice breaking the silence. "Mom, are you scared?" "No, baby," Elena lied, forcing a smile and just thinking. Luna's perceptive gaze lingered, but she nodded, curling back into Arya. Elena sat, watching them breathe, their faces so like hers, but with his eyes. She'd always known this day might come, but not like this, sudden, or with Marcus so close. By afternoon, Marcus's assistant delivered a file. Elena lived in a modest apartment in a small town, worked at a community center, and taught part-time. Her twins, Arya and Luna Martinez, with no father listed, attended public school. Honor students, Arya is in debate and Luna is in art. A single photo from a school website stopped his breath. Two girls, identical but distinct. Arya's bold grin, Luna's gentle gaze. Their gray eyes stared out, undeniable. His daughters. No test needed, he knew it bone deep. Rage surged, mixed with a grief he couldn't name. How dare she keep them from him? He had rights, years stolen. But guilt followed, sharp and unyielding. He'd called her a liar, offered her money like she was disposable, told her to vanish. What if she'd hidden them out of pain, not pride? The thought chilled him. He grabbed his phone, typing a message, his fingers unsteady. "Elena, we need to talk. I know about Arya and Luna. Coffee shop on Pine Street, noon. Come alone." He hit send, his heart pounding. This wasn't about money or control anymore. It was about two girls who didn't know he existed, raised by a woman he'd broken. He stood, staring at the city, feeling like a man who'd lost something he hadn't known he had. Elena felt it before she saw it, a prickle of danger, honed from years of survival. She'd developed instincts in foster care, sharpened by single motherhood. Someone was watching, closing in. She picked Arya and Luna up from their temporary hotel daycare, scanning the street for unfamiliar cars. Nothing obvious, but the unease lingered. At dinner, Arya noticed. "Mom, you're acting weird." "Just a long day," Elena said, cutting vegetables with shaking hands. Luna tilted her head, sketching in her notebook. "Did you see someone from before? At the conference?" Elena's knife stilled. "Why would you ask that?" "You've been different since yesterday," Luna said softly. "Scared." "I'm not scared," Elena lied, her voice tight. But Luna's eyes saw too much, always had. Arya joined in, her tone protective. "If someone's bothering you, please tell us. We can handle it." Elena forced a laugh, hugging them. "You're my warriors, but it's nothing. Let's eat." That night, she triple-checked the locks, her mind racing. Marcus had found them. He'd seen enough to know. What if he came for them, used his wealth to tear her world apart? She'd fought too hard. 3 jobs, sleepless nights, dodging landlords who sneered at her brown skin and single status. She'd survived because Arya and Luna deserved better than a father who saw them as a transaction. In his office, Marcus pored over the file again. Arya's debate awards, Luna's art contest wins. They were brilliant and thriving, which is proof of Elena's strength. But that strength infuriated him too. She'd done this alone, cut him out completely. He called his lawyer. "Prepare for a paternity test and custody motion. I want my daughters." "Sir, that's aggressive," the lawyer cautioned. "Courts favor mothers, especially with no prior contact." "Do it," Marcus said, his voice steel. "They're mine." Elena tucked the girls in, their questions about their father echoing from years past. She'd always deflected. "It's complicated. We're enough." But now, with Marcus's message, that lie felt fragile. She sat in the dark, phone glowing, his words threatening and promising. Tomorrow, she'd face him, not as the broken girl he'd dismissed, but as a mother who'd built a fortress for her daughters. She'd protect them, no matter what he brought, lawyers, money, or power. The investigation had begun, and with it, a battle neither could escape. Elena arrived at the coffee shop 15 minutes early, choosing a corner table with views of both exits. Old habits from leaner days, always know your escape routes. She left Arya and Luna with Clara, who had pulled them into a hug without question, promising cartoons and cookies. Kissing their foreheads goodbye, Elena's hands trembled, wondering what version of their life she'd return to. Marcus entered at noon sharp, his casual shirt doing little to hide his commanding presence. Heads turned, but he ignored them, spotting Elena immediately. His expression was unreadable, a storm behind those gray eyes. He sat across from her, no preamble. "They are mine, not a question." "Yes," Elena said, meeting his gaze steadily. "Arya and Luna are yours. For how long have you known?" His voice was low, controlled, but anger simmered beneath. "Since the night I told you I was pregnant, when you offered money and told me to disappear." Marcus's jaw tightened. "You should have fought and proved it to me. I shouldn't have had to prove I wasn't lying. You should have believed me. People lie about this. My family has dealt with it before. I didn't." Elena leaned forward, her voice calm but edged with steel. "I came to you with the truth. You gave me contempt. So I left to protect them from you. Taking my daughters, they are not yours. I carried them, birthed them alone, raised them while you pretended we didn't exist. Because you made that choice. Our daughters." Marcus's tone sharpened. "I have rights. You signed those rights away when you called me a gold digger and showed me the door. There was no paper, but your words were contract enough. I can't let this go. They are my blood." Elena stood, grabbing her purse. "You are not ready to be their father. You are angry and possessive and see them as property. That is not love, that is control. You do not get to decide what they deserve." "This isn't over," Marcus said, rising too. "I will take you to court. Paternity test, custody, all of it. Go ahead." Elena turned at the door, her eyes fierce. "Traumatize two girls who do not know you. Force yourself into their lives because your ego is bruised. They are children, Marcus, not pawns. Biology makes me their father. Being there does. And you were not." Elena walked out, the bell jingling like a final punctuation. Marcus stood frozen, her words landing like blows. He called his lawyer before the coffee cooled. "File for paternity and joint custody immediately." 3 days later, the papers arrived at Elena's apartment, and a courier knocked on her door, sending dread. Petition for paternity testing. Motion for custody arrangement. Demand for access. She read each page, fury building. He was doing this, weaponizing his wealth against her fragile world. She called the only lawyer she could afford, a no-nonsense woman named Reyes, who worked pro bono cases on a sliding scale. "This is aggressive," Reyes said, scanning the documents over coffee. "He is pushing for joint custody right after confirmation. With his resources, he could drag this out for months." "He does not even know them," Elena whispered, her voice breaking. "He told me to disappear. I have no proof except my word." "Courts favor biology, especially with no abandonment on record." Reyes paused. "We need to prepare for the test. Refusal is not an option. After that, we fight for custody with character witnesses, your stable home, and your sacrifices. But it will cost." How much? Elena's savings were thin, stretched by school fees and rent. At least $5,000 to start, more if it goes long. Elena nodded, swallowing panic. "I will find it." She borrowed from Clara, who pressed cash into her hand without a word. "People like us stick together," Clara said. "Fight for those girls." That night, Elena sat Arya and Luna down in their living room, the moment's weight pressing like a storm cloud. The girls sensed it, curling against her on the couch. "I need to tell you about your father," she began, her voice steady despite her shaking hands. Arya went still, Luna's eyes widening. They had asked over the years, accepting her vague answers. Complicated, not in our lives. But now, with Marcus's shadow looming, the truth could not wait. "His name is Marcus Vanderbilt," Elena continued. "I knew him before you were born. When I told him I was pregnant, he did not believe me. He thought I was lying for money. He asked me to leave, so I did. He did not want us." Arya's face hardened, small fist clenching. "He threw us away. Why tell us now?" "Because he found us, at the conference. He wants to meet you. There will be a test to prove he is your biological father. Then the court decides if he gets time with you. What if we do not want to? Aria's voice cracked, fierce and hurt. He did not want us then. Why now? Elena pulled her close, tears stinging. I will fight for what you want, but the law might not listen. Luna stayed silent, processing, her hand tracing patterns on Elena's knee. Elena heard Aria's muffled sobs from their shared room that night, Luna's whispers comforting her. The sound shattered Elena. This was Marcus's return, pain for her daughters, cracks in their secure world, questions about their worth. The paternity test unfolded in a sterile clinic, tension thick as fog. Marcus arrived separately, his gaze devouring Aria and Luna like a starving man. The girls stared back, Aria's chin lifted defiantly, Luna's eyes guarded. Swabs were taken, and they left without a word, the air heavy with unspoken accusations. Results came swiftly. 99.9% match. Marcus Vanderbilt was their father. The custody hearing loomed, Reyes prepping Elena with evidence of her life. Pay stubs from 3 jobs, school reports glowing with praise, photos of birthdays celebrated on shoestring budgets. Marcus's team was ruthless, filing motions for psych evaluations, questioning Elena's fitness as a parent of color in a low-income bracket. He is trying to wear you down, Reyes warned, make you too broke to fight. Elena nodded, her bank account dipping into the red. But she had survived worse, poverty's bite, foster care's indifference, Marcus's cruelty. His money could not touch her core. The hearing was a battlefield, the judge's gavel echoing like thunder. Elena testified, her voice unwavering, detailing her sacrifices and her love. Marcus spoke too, his remorse scripted but genuine in flashes. The girls via video expressed reluctance. Aria blunt, Luna soft but firm. We do not know him. The decision landed like a verdict. Supervised visitation for Marcus. 2 hours weekly in a neutral center, pending evaluation. No joint custody yet. Elena wanted to scream in relief and rage. Marcus looked vindicated but hollow, his victory tasting of ash. Outside the courthouse, Elena hugged Aria and Luna. We will get through this, together. Marcus watched them leave, Sophia appearing at his side, shaking her head. You are forcing this wrong. They hate you. I am their father. I have to try. This is not fatherhood. It is an invasion. Sophia's eyes softened. I met Elena last week, secretly. She told me everything. You broke her, Marcus. But she built something beautiful without you. You what? Marcus turned, shock rippling through him. She needed to know that not all of us are monsters. And you? You need to hear her side. Your past betrayal with that girlfriend, the one Dad used to poison you. It does not justify this. Marcus sank onto a bench, the weight crashing down. Sophia's interference, Elena's pain, the girl's rejection. He had started a war, but winning felt like losing everything. As Elena drove home, Aria's voice small from the back. Do we have to see him? For now, yes, but only as much as you can bear. Luna sketched silently, her drawing a fractured family under storm clouds. Elena gripped the wheel, resolve hardening. She would fight, borrow more if needed, shield her daughters from the man who had once shattered her. But deep down, a flicker of fear. What if the court saw his money over her love? What if biology trumped the life she had forged? The warfare had just begun, and Elena would not yield. The visitation center smelled of antiseptic and stale coffee, its beige walls amplifying the tension. Elena sat in the waiting area, Aria and Luna clutching her hands. Aria's jaw was set, her red jacket a defiant splash against the dull room. Luna stared at her shoes, her blue scarf loose, her quiet intensity palpable. Elena's heart ached, knowing this forced meeting with Marcus would test them all. Remember, she said softly, you do not have to talk or touch him, just be there. 2 hours, then we go home. This is dumb, Aria muttered, crossing her arms. Why meet someone who did not want us? Elena had no answer that wouldn't sound like defending Marcus, which she refused to do. The truth was too raw for children. His cruelty, her humiliation, the years she'd shielded them from his shadow. The supervisor, a kind-eyed woman with a clipboard, appeared. We are ready. Elena squeezed their hands. I will be right here. You are not alone. Aria squared her shoulders like a soldier. Luna shrinking beside her. Through the one-way glass, Elena watched them enter the visitation room. Marcus stood as they approached, his casual sweater failing to mask his wealth. His smile was forced, awkward. "Hello," he said. "I am Marcus, your father." "We know," Arya snapped, arms still crossed. Luna said nothing, her gray eyes studying him, mirrors of his own. Marcus glanced at the supervisor, who gestured to a table with chairs. "I brought some things," he said, pulling out wrapped boxes. "I was not sure what you liked, so—" Arya cut in. "We do not want your gifts," her voice sharp. "Mom says we have to be here, so we are. That is it." Marcus froze, his hands hovering over the boxes. Pain flashed across his face, quickly buried. "I understand you are angry." "We are not angry," Arya said coldly. "We do not care enough to be angry." Luna spoke, her voice soft but piercing. "Why are you doing this?" Marcus blinked, startled. "Because you are my daughters. I want to know you." "You did not before," Luna said. "Mom told you, you did not believe her. That is different from not knowing." Elena's breath cocked behind the glass. Her gentle daughter wielded truth like a blade. Marcus had no reply, the silence heavy. The supervisor suggested a board game, and they sat, the hour dragging in stiff awkwardness. Marcus asked stilted questions, grades, favorite subjects, hobbies, met with one-word answers. Arya's hostility was a wall. Luna's silence was a void. He tried too hard, his voice strained, earning nothing but their guarded stares. Elena's chest tightened, a mix of satisfaction and unease. She wanted Marcus to feel the weight of his choices, but watching him fumble with children who rejected him felt strangely hollow. The girls bolted when the supervisor called time, rushing to Elena in the hallway. "That was awful," Arya said, burying her face in Elena's shoulder. "Do we have to do it again?" "Yes, for now," Elena said, stroking her hair. Luna glanced back at the room. "He is sad. That is not your problem," Arya said fiercely. But Elena saw Luna's conflict, her empathetic heart wrestling with the pain of a man they were meant to hate. Marcus emerged, his face drained. "Thank you for bringing them," he said to Elena. She nodded, guiding the girls out. "Same time next week," he called. Arya made a disgusted noise. Luna glanced back, unreadable. Elena buckled them into her battered car in the parking lot, the engine sputtering on the second try. "I hate this," Arya said. "He is trying to buy us with stupid gifts." "No one thinks you are easy," Elena said, starting the drive. Luna, quiet, spoke. "He is lonely." "His fault," Arya shot back. Elena caught Luna's eyes in the rearview mirror, her daughter processing something deeper, unsettling her. That evening, Sophia appeared at Elena's apartment, unannounced. Elena opened the door, wary, to find Marcus's sister, softer but with his features, her expression apologetic. "I know I should not be here," Sophia said, "but I needed to meet you to apologize to Marcus." "Who is it?" Arya called from the living room. "Your aunt, apparently," Elena said dryly, still blocking the doorway. Sophia's face lit up. "Are they here? Can I meet them? I promise I am not like Marcus. I want to know my nieces." Elena hesitated, stepped aside, and Sophia's sincerity softened her instincts. Arya and Luna appeared, curious but guarded. Sophia's eyes glistened. "You look like him, but with your mother's strength. Are you here to make us like him?" Arya asked, suspicious. "No," Sophia said, sitting on the floor to seem less threatening. "I am here because you are family. Marcus hurt your mother badly, and I want you to know not all of us are like that." Luna moved closer, studying Sophia. "You are different. I try to be," Sophia said. They talked for an hour, Sophia asking gentle questions, sharing stories of Marcus as a boy, his love for puzzles, his grief over their mother's death. Arya laughed despite herself. Luna sketched Sophia's face, a sign of trust. Elena watched, wary but thawing. Sophia was genuine, unlike Marcus's forced efforts. "Can I come back?" Sophia asked before leaving. "Not for Marcus, for them." Elena nodded. "They could use a family that cares." The barb landed softly. Sophia winced but accepted it. "He does care, just badly. Our father taught him to see threats everywhere. That is his burden, not yours." After Sophia left, Arya said, "She is nice. Why is he not like her? People are complicated, Elena said. No better answer. The weekly visits continued, each less painful. Marcus stopped bringing lavish gifts and asking better questions. Aria's debate wins, Luna's latest drawings. Aria's hostility softened slightly. Luna answered in complete sentences, a small victory. But they still saw him as a stranger. In one session, Luna showed Marcus her sketchbook and pages of their life. Elena cooking, Aria arguing, and Clara laughing. One drawing stopped him, a family, incomplete, a shadow where a father should be. "You see everything," he said quietly. Luna nodded. "Mom says I do." Aria watched, her guard still up. "You hurt her. That is all we know about you." "I know," Marcus said, his voice low. "I am trying to be better." "Trying is not enough," Aria said, but her tone was less venomous. Elena, behind the glass, felt the shift. Marcus was learning, slowly, to meet them where they were. But trust was a long road, and every step felt like a test. That night, Elena tucked the girls in, their questions heavier. "Does he really want us?" Luna asked. "He is trying," Elena said carefully, "but you decide what that means." Aria hugged her tight. "We choose you, always." Elena smiled, tears hidden. "I choose you too." But as she sat in the dark, Marcus's persistence stirred unease. He was closing the distance, and she feared what that meant for the life she'd built. The proximity was unwanted, but it was here, and neither could turn back now. The visitation center's sterile air pressed against Elena as she watched Marcus arrive, carrying a modest bag instead of flashy gifts. His face showed strain, but he managed a cautious smile for Aria and Luna, who sat stiffly at the table. 3 weeks of visits had dulled the initial hostility, but trust remained a distant hope. Elena stood behind the one-way glass, her heart a tangle of wariness and reluctant hope. Marcus was trying, but every step felt like a test. He pulled out art supplies for Luna, brushes and watercolor paper carefully chosen, and a logic puzzle book for Aria. "I asked a store clerk what you might like," and he said, voice tentative. Luna's eyes lit up, her fingers brushing the paper. "These are good," she said softly. Aria flipped through the puzzles, her expression skeptical but curious. Aria admitted, "You are not terrible at this, solving a puzzle in minutes." Marcus grinned, attempting one himself, his brow furrowing in defeat. He said, "You are better at this than I," earning a slight smirk from Aria. Luna dipped a brush in paint, her strokes deliberate. "Why do you keep coming?" she asked, not looking up. "Because I want to know you," Marcus said. "I missed too much already. I do not want to miss more." "You missed everything," Aria said, her tone sharp but less venomous. "Mom did it all." "I know," Marcus said quietly. "She is incredible." Elena's chest tightened, hearing his acknowledgement. But words were cheap, and her daughter's hearts were at stake. The session ended with Luna keeping her painting, Aria clutching her puzzle book. Aria muttered to Elena as they left, saying he was not the worst, but I still do not like him. Luna held her artwork close. "He is trying, Mom, and really trying." Elena nodded, hiding her unease. Marcus's efforts were cracking her armor, but trust was a luxury she couldn't afford. Luna hung her vibrant sunset painting on their bedroom wall that evening at their cramped apartment. Aria stared at it. "It is good," she said grudgingly. "He picked decent stuff." Elena tucked them in, their faces softening in sleep, but her mind churned. Marcus was weaving into their lives, and she feared the moment he'd falter, leaving Aria and Luna with scars like hers. The next visit shifted everything. Midway through, Luna swayed, her face flushed. "I feel dizzy," she whispered, her brush clattering to the table. Marcus caught her as she slumped, his face paling. "Supervisor, call for help," he barked, scooping Luna up. Aria's eyes widened, fear breaking her tough facade. Elena rushed in, heart pounding. "What happened?" "She got hot fast," Marcus said, his voice tight. "They think it might be serious." They converged at the hospital, a chaos of fear and urgency. Elena followed Luna into the exam room, holding her hand through tests. Her small body was burning with fever. The doctor, a brusque man with a clipped tone, eyed Elena's worn clothes. "You are the mother, single parent." His words dripped with judgment, implying her struggle was her fault. Elena ignored him, stroking Luna's hair, whispering, "You are okay, baby. I am here." Marcus paced the waiting room, Arya hovering nearby, her bravado gone. "Is she going to die?" Arya whispered, voice breaking. "No," Marcus said, kneeling to her level. "She is strong, like you and your mom. We will make sure she is okay." Arya nodded, tears spilling. Marcus hesitated, then hugged her briefly, the first contact she allowed. Elena emerged for an update, her face drawn. "They are running tests, maybe an infection, not sure yet." Marcus nodded, his composure cracking. "I called the best specialists, they are on their way." "I do not need your money," Elena snapped, exhaustion fraying her. "It is not about money, it is about her." Marcus's voice was raw. "Let me help." Elena relented, too tired to argue. Hours dragged, tests confirming a severe viral infection, not meningitis. Leaf flooded them. But Luna needed fluids and rest. Elena stayed by her bedside, Marcus checking in and bringing coffee, his presence steady but not intrusive. Arya curled up beside Luna, her fear easing as her sister stirred. "She is going to be okay," Elena whispered, more to herself. "She has to be." "She will," Marcus said, his voice soft but certain. "You have raised fighters." Elena met his gaze, seeing not the man who'd hurt her, but one shaken by fear for their daughter. It unsettled her, this glimpse of care. When Luna was discharged, Marcus drove them home, the car silent except for Arya's soft snores. He helped carry Luna upstairs at their apartment, waiting as Elena settled the girls. "Thank you," Elena said at the door, her voice barely above a whisper, for being there. "I was terrified," Marcus admitted, entirely out of my depth. "So was I," Elena said, meeting his eyes. They stood in the doorway, the space between them vast but less hostile. "Good night, Marcus." "Good night." He left, and Elena leaned against the door, tears falling silently. The crisis had cracked something open, not forgiveness, but a recognition that Marcus was trying, risking his own heart. The next day, Marcus called his lawyer. "Withdraw the custody motions, all of them. Make the visits voluntary between Elena and me." "Sir, are you sure?" his lawyer asked. "You have a strong case." "I am sure. I do not want to fight her. I want to be there for them, not force my way in." The notification reached Elena via Reyes, a brief document stating Marcus's withdrawal with no conditions. She read it twice, suspicion warring with relief. Was this a tactic or real change? She didn't ask, choosing to watch his actions instead. Marcus brought a simpler puzzle for Arya and a new sketchbook for Luna at the next visit. No pressure, just presence. Arya challenged him to a logic game, smirking when she won. Luna showed him a drawing of their apartment, Elena at the center, strong but tired. "She works too much," Luna said quietly. "Her hands shake sometimes." Marcus's chest tightened. "Why?" "Too many jobs," Luna said. "Too much stress." "What can I do?" he asked, voice low. "I do not know," Luna said, closing her sketchbook. "But it feels wrong. She is struggling when you have so much." Her words lingered, a quiet accusation. Marcus approached Elena carefully after the session. "Luna mentioned your hands shake. You work too much." "That is not your concern," Elena said, her voice sharp. "It is if it affects them. I am not trying to control you. I am worried." "Do not be," Elena said. "I have survived without your worry. I will keep surviving." Marcus backed off, respecting her boundary, though it stung. He saw her exhaustion, the toll of her fierce independence. He'd caused this, pushing her to build a life without him. He had to prove he could fit into it without breaking it apart. Elena watched him leave, Luna's words echoing. Her daughters saw her struggle, and now Marcus did too. The armor she'd worn for years was cracking, not from his efforts but from her fatigue. She couldn't let him in, not yet. But as Arya and Luna slept, their faces peaceful, Elena felt a shift. Marcus was no longer the enemy, but wasn't an ally either. The cracks were there, and the next move would test them all. Elena walked the park's winding path, the autumn air crisp, Arya and Luna playing on a distant playground within sight. Marcus matched her pace, his hands in his pockets, his usual confidence replaced by a rare hesitancy. The girls' laughter carried faintly, reminding them why they were here. After Luna's hospital scare and Marcus's decision to drop the custody battle, Elena agreed to this meeting. There were no lawyers, just honesty. She wasn't sure she was ready, but the cracks in her armor demanded answers. "I need to explain why I reacted like I did," Marcus began, eyes fixed on the path. "When you told me you were pregnant, I heard my father's voice, not yours. He spent my life warning me about people using me for money. When I was 20, a woman I trusted got close to stealing company secrets for a rival. It broke something in me. When you came to me, all I saw was that betrayal repeating. I was cruel because I was scared." Elena absorbed his words, her face unreadable. "Your fear does not excuse what you did. You made me feel worthless." "I know," Marcus said, his voice low. "I am not asking for forgiveness. I am asking you to understand that my cruelty came from my own damage, not from you." They walked in silence, leaves crunching underfoot. Elena watched Arya climb a slide, Luna sketching in the dirt. Marcus's confession didn't erase the pain, but gave it shape. She'd spent years hating the man who'd dismissed her, but now he was here, flawed and exposed. "Tell me about them," Marcus said quietly, "about raising Arya and Luna. I want to know what I missed." Elena hesitated. These memories were hers, forged in sleepless nights and small triumphs. Sharing felt like giving him a piece of her soul, but his hunger to understand was genuine, and maybe he needed to grasp what he'd lost. "Arya came out screaming," she said, a smile flickering, like she was announcing herself to the world. Luna was quiet, just watching with those eyes. Holding them, I felt terrified but confident. "They were mine." "Were you alone?" Marcus asked, his voice tight. "Clara was there, from the diner. She held my hand, cut their cords, and taught me to nurse them both. She was family when I had none." Elena's voice softened. "My parents died when I was young. Foster care taught me to rely on myself." "You were supposed to be different, Marcus. That is why it hurts so much." His face tightened, guilt evident. "I should have been there." "Yes, you should have. But you were not, so I did it alone." Elena stopped, facing him. It was brutal. 3 jobs, no sleep. Nights I skipped meals so they could eat. We almost lost our apartment once when the landlord raised the rent because he thought a single mother like me could not fight back. I did. I always did. But there were moments I resented you so much it burned. Marcus swallowed, his eyes on the girls. "I deserve that." "You do, but I had to let it go, for them." Elena gestured toward Arya and Luna. "I could not raise them, drowning in anger. I told myself you were dead, not real, just a ghost. It was the only way to move forward." "How did you do it?" Marcus asked, his voice hoarse. "Build a life like that?" "I had no choice." Elena's voice hardened. Every birthday was dollar store decorations and love. Arya's first word was no, naturally. Luna's first drawing was a sun, bright and hopeful. I cried to sleep some nights, wondering how to keep them fed. But they were worth every second. "You did everything right," Marcus said, his voice breaking. "They are incredible because of you." "They are incredible because they are themselves," Elena corrected. "Not because of me or you. They are Arya and Luna." Marcus nodded, his gaze distant. "I have missed everything. First steps, first words, first days of school. I want to know them now, Elena. Not to claim them, but to be part of their lives." "They do not trust you," she said bluntly. "And I do not either. Words are easy. They need proof that you will not hurt them like you hurt me." "I will give them that proof," Marcus said. "Every week, every moment they let me." Elena studied him, searching for lies. His face held only tired truth, worn by the weight of his mistakes. "They are testing you," she said. "Every visit, they are waiting for you to fail, to prove you are the man who threw us away." "I will not fail them," he said, his voice firm. "I swear it." "Do not swear to me, swear to them." Elena's eyes flicked to the playground, where Arya pushed Luna on a swing. "They deserve a father who stays even when it is hard." They returned to the girls, who ran over, breathless. "Can we get ice cream?" Arya asked, her energy infectious. Elena calculated the budget, time, and energy. Sure, baby. Ice cream sounds good. I will get it, Marcus offered. Just ice cream, nothing more. Elena hesitated, pride warring with practicality. The girls' hopeful faces tipped the scale. Fine, ice cream only. They walked to a nearby shop, an odd unit learning to move together. Marcus bought cones, and they sat on benches, licking drips in companionable silence. Luna turned to Marcus, and her question was sudden. Do you love us now? Marcus paused, ice cream melting in his hand. Yes, he said, voice steady. I do. Not because I have to, but because you are you. Arya challenges me. Luna surprises me. You are incredible, and I am grateful to know you. Do you love Mom? Arya asked, her eyes narrowing, testing. Marcus looked at Elena, who tensed. I love who your mother is, he said carefully. How she raised you, how she survived, how she is strong without cruelty. I respect her more than anyone. That is honest. Not the same thing, Luna observed, licking her cone. No, it is not, Marcus agreed, but it is true. The girls nodded, returning to their treats. Elena's expression stayed guarded, but something shifted, a crack widening. They walked home, Arya whispering to Elena, he is not as bad as I thought. You do not have to forgive him, Elena said softly, I know, but I may not have to hate him either. That night, Elena lay awake replaying Marcus's words, his honesty about his past, his respect for her strength, and his love for their daughters weren't enough to heal old wounds, but they dulled their edges. She didn't trust him yet, but she saw his effort. It counted, even if she couldn't admit it. Marcus stared at his phone in his penthouse, typing a message he deleted twice before sending. Thank you for today. For letting me in, I will not waste it. Elena's reply came late. Do not thank me, thank them. They're the ones giving you chances. He smiled faintly. Fair enough. Arya and Luna were his judges, and he was still on trial. But for the first time, he felt a flicker of hope that he wasn't too late to earn a place in their lives, however small. Elena watched Arya and Luna race across the Science Museum's atrium, their laughter echoing off the high ceilings. The twins' 8th birthday had arrived, and Marcus had suggested a day trip to celebrate, a science exhibit for Arya's sharp mind, and an art installation for Luna's creative soul. Elena hesitated, wary of blurring lines, but the girls' excitement won. Marcus picked them up in a practical SUV, not his usual sleek sedan, a deliberate choice to avoid making them feel out of place. Arya claimed the front seat, chattering about quantum mechanics, while Luna sat beside Elena, sketching the passing city. The museum buzzed with interactive displays, and Arya dragged Marcus through each one, confidently explaining concepts that made Elena's heart swell. You are going to run the world someday, Marcus said, watching Arya manipulate a robotics model. Obviously, Arya replied, grinning. Someone has to fix your generation's messes. Elena bit back a smile, her fierce daughter unyielding. Marcus laughed, his pride unguarded, a shift from the strained man of their early visits. The art installation was quieter, a labyrinth of light and color. Luna moved slowly, her eyes drinking in every detail. Marcus and Elena followed at a distance, giving her space. She has your passion, Marcus said softly, but those eyes, they are ours. Elena nodded, her throat tight. They are their own people, better than us. Luna paused before a glowing canvas, her face rapt. It is like the world is breathing, she whispered. Marcus crouched beside her. Can you make something like this? Someday, Luna said. When I am good enough, will you attend my first art show? I will be at every show, Marcus promised, his voice thick. First, last, everything in between. They grabbed lunch at a casual diner, the four of them squeezed into a booth, an awkward family unit finding its rhythm. This is weird, Arya said, biting into her burger. Like, we are normal, but it is nice. Normal is overrated, Elena said gently. We are our own kind of family. Yeah, but normal families do not need court visits, Arya shrugged. Just saying it is different. Different is not bad, Luna added, sketching the table's condiments. Lots of families are different. After lunch, they wandered to a park, Arya challenging Marcus to a chess match on a public board. She beat him in 10 moves, smirking as he conceded. Luna sketched them, her pencil capturing their strange, fractured bond. As the sun dipped, exhaustion settled in, and Marcus drove them home in comfortable silence. He helped carry the girls' bags upstairs, lingering at the door. "Thank you for today," he said to Elena. "They needed this." "So did I," Elena admitted, her voice soft. "They deserve good memories." "I know I cannot replace the years I missed," Marcus said, "but I want to give them more like this. Moving forward, not stuck in the past." Elena nodded, closing the door as he left. The day had been too easy, too right, stirring a dangerous warmth she wasn't ready for. Arya mumbled sleepily, "Best birthday ever." Elena's heart clenched, her daughters getting pieces of the life they deserved. Marcus's consistency grew over the weeks. Thursday evenings became puzzle nights with Arya at a coffee shop, her mind outpacing his as he scrambled to keep up. Arya teased that "You are terrible at this," solving a riddle he fumbled. Marcus replied that "Your mom always said I was stubborn, not smart," earning a sharp look. "You talked about Mom?" Arya asked, her tone probing. "Once," Marcus said carefully. "She said I could not see past my own flaws. She was right." Arya studied him, then nodded. "Yeah, she usually is." On Saturdays, Marcus joined Luna at a community art center, watching her paint while attempting his clumsy sketches. Luna said, "You are terrible at this," giggling as his sunset became a blob. "I am learning," Marcus said, smiling from the best. One morning, Luna showed him a drawing of Elena, exhausted at their kitchen table, light falling across her face. "She works too hard," Luna said quietly. "It is not fair." Marcus's chest tightened. "I know. I want to help, but she will not let me." "She does not trust you," Luna said, her gray eyes piercing. "Not yet." Marcus nodded, the truth stinging. He was learning their rhythms. Arya needed challenge, Luna needed gentleness. Both craved consistency. He showed up on time, remembered their schedules, Arya's debate meets, Luna's art classes, and listened more than he spoke, a skill he honed for them. Elena noticed the change, relief mixing with anxiety. The girls were warming to Marcus, Arya's barbs were softer, and Luna's sketches included him. But trust was fragile, and Elena feared the day he'd falter. Her car broke down one evening, the engine coughing its last breath in the diner parking lot. She stood, defeated, calculating impossible repair costs. Marcus appeared, having driven Arya home from the debate. "Let me help," he said. "A car, a loan, whatever you need." "No," Elena said, her voice sharp with old defenses. "You need transportation," he pressed gently. "Let me drive you to work until you sort it out for the girls." Practicality won over pride. "Just until I fix this," she said. Marcus drove her to the diner for 2 weeks, picking her up after late shifts, never commenting on her exhaustion. He didn't offer money or push boundaries, he just kept his word. Elena bought a used car with Clara's loan and her dwindling savings, and she thanked Marcus curtly. "You did not have to." "Yes, I did," he said. "You are their mother. Helping you helps them." His words lingered, practical, but weighted with something more. Elena pushed it away, unwilling to examine it. At a school parent-teacher conference, Marcus arrived unannounced. "The school invited both parents," he said. "I want to know how they are doing." They sat together, hearing about Arya's brilliance, occasional stubbornness, Luna's artistic talent, and quiet introspection. The teacher praised their thriving, crediting excellent parenting. Neither corrected the assumption of partnership. Afterward, Marcus said, "They are amazing. You have done everything right." "We are not done raising them," Elena replied. "Long road ahead. I want to be there for it," Marcus said. "Not on the sidelines, but present." "You are getting there," Elena said, her voice softer, slowly. They parted in the parking lot, a fragile understanding forming. Marcus wasn't the villain anymore, but not a partner either. Elena drove home, her thoughts tangled. Arya and Luna were letting him in, and she was, too, inch by inch. This shift towards something new, a foundation built from broken pieces, terrified her. But for now, it held, and that was enough. The school's annual showcase filled the auditorium with buzzing parents and proud children. Arya's debate team was set to perform, her sharp mind ready to shine, while Luna's artwork adorned the lobby, her quiet talent on display. Elena arrived early, her best blazer worn but neat, saving seats for Clara and Sophia. Marcus slipped in minutes later, scanning the crowd until he found them. "Room for one more?" he asked, his voice low. Elena nodded, gesturing to the empty seat beside her. Despite their undefined tension, they agreed to present a united front for the girls. The debate began, Arya commanding the stage, carefully dismantling opponents' arguments. Elena watched, pride swelling. She had nurtured that fire through years of sacrifice. Marcus leaned forward, absorbed, chuckling when Arya landed a particularly sharp rebuttal. "She is something," he whispered. Elena's lips twitched. "She gets it from me." Marcus met her eyes, a rare lightness passing between them. No argument there. Afterward, they moved to the lobby, where Luna's art glowed under soft lights. Her series, a family portrait of Elena cooking, Arya arguing, Clara laughing, and Marcus looking hesitant, wove their fractured lives into something whole. "She sees everything," Marcus said, his voice thick. "Always has," Elena replied. "It is her gift and her burden." Parents milled around, some offering Elena polite nods, others casting curious glances at Marcus. His wealth drew attention, even in casual clothes. A mother, Karen, approached, her smile sharp-edged. Her daughter, a rival of Arya's, had lost to her in debate. "Nice to see the father finally here," her tone laced with judgment. "It must be hard stepping in after so long." Elena tensed, ready to deflect, but Marcus spoke first, his voice calm but firm. "The adjustment is mine to make. Elena raised them beautifully alone. I am grateful they are letting me in now." Karen's smile faltered. "Single motherhood must have been tough," she pressed, her eyes sliding over Elena's brown skin, implying struggle was inevitable. Marcus's expression hardened. "The only hardship was my absence. Elena is the strongest person I know. She built a life for two incredible girls while working multiple jobs. My failure is the only thing to judge here." Karen retreated, muttering excuses. Elena stood frozen, processing Marcus's defense. "You did not have to do that," she said quietly. "Yes, I did," he replied, his gaze steady. Arya and Luna ran up, breathless. "Did you see me crush them?" Arya demanded, her grin wide. "You were brilliant," Marcus said, his earlier tension gone. Luna glowed, shyly accepting praise for her art. They collected their things, heading to the parking lot, where another parent waited by Elena's aging car. Mr. Reynolds, whose son competed with Arya, looked agitated. "Your daughter needs to learn humility," he snapped. "She humiliated my son tonight." Arya froze, her confidence wavering. Elena stepped forward, voice even. Arya debated fairly. "If your son felt embarrassed, he should have prepared better." "That is the problem," Reynolds said, glaring. "You raise them to think they are better than everyone." "Enough," Marcus cut in, his voice like steel. "You are speaking to their mother with disrespect. Apologize or walk away." "Who are you?" Reynolds sneered. "The father who just showed up?" "Yes," Marcus said, stepping closer, his presence overwhelming. "I failed them once. I am here now, and you will not speak to my family like that." The word family hung heavy. Reynolds backed off, mumbling something that might have been an apology. Arya exhaled shakily. "That was intense." "People are threatened by excellence," Elena said, rubbing Arya's shoulder. "You did nothing wrong." "He called you dad," Arya said to Marcus, her voice soft but fierce. "That was mean." "It was true," Marcus said. "I was not there. But I am now, and I am staying." Luna looked at him, her gaze piercing. "You said we are your family." "You are," Marcus said, crouching to her level. "You, Arya, your mom Clara, and Sophia. This messy, complicated thing we are building. That is family." "Even if mom does not love you?" Luna asked, her bluntness cutting. Marcus glanced at Elena, who looked away. "Love is not always needed for family. Commitment is, showing up is, and I will keep showing up." They drove to a restaurant Elena approved, a casual place where Clara and Sophia joined them. Over fries and milkshakes, Arya recounted her debate in vivid detail, and Luna showed sketches from the evening. They looked like a family celebrating to outsiders, but the truth was more complex. a patchwork of trust and wounds. Elena relaxed slightly, the warmth of the moment easing her guard. As they walked to their cars, a sleek black sedan pulled up, and an older man stepped out, Charles Vanderbilt, Marcus's father. Elena froze, recognizing him from old photos. His presence radiated control, his eyes cold as they swept over her and the girls. "Marcus," Charles said, his voice sharp. "We need to talk about your distractions." "Not now, father," Marcus said, stepping between him and the girls. "These children are a liability," Charles said, ignoring Elena. "You need to control this narrative before it damages the company." Arya's eyes narrowed. "We are not a liability. We do not want your money or your name." Luna clutched Elena's hand, her voice soft but firm. "We have Mom, that is enough." Charles's face hardened, but Marcus cut him off. "They are my daughters, not your pawns. Leave." Charles smirked, addressing Elena. "You think you have won, keeping them from us? I buried your letters 8 years ago. You will not ruin him now." Elena's breath caught. Letters. She'd written to Marcus after leaving, desperate pleas he'd never answered. Marcus turned to her, shock etching his face. "You wrote to me?" She nodded, voice trembling. "I tried for them." Charles walked away, his parting words venomous. "Please fix this, Marcus, or I will." The girls clung to Elena, shaken. Arya whispered, "He is awful. Is that why you left?" "Part of it," Elena said, her mind reeling. Marcus looked gutted, the revelation of his father's interference a fresh wound. "I did not know," he said, voice raw. "I swear, Elena, I did not know." She nodded, too shaken to respond. They parted, Elena driving home with the girls, Charles's words echoing. He'd stolen her chance to reach Marcus, deepening their divide. At home, Luna sketched the confrontation, drawing dark with jagged lines. Arya sat close, her voice small. "Will he try to take us?" "No," Elena said fiercely. "You are mine, always." But Marcus's pained face lingered, his promise to stay tested by this new challenge. Charles's shadow loomed, threatening the fragile foundation they were building. Elena held her daughters, vowing to protect them, even as the past roared back to life, demanding a reckoning. Elena collapsed onto the diner's break room bench, her vision blurring as exhaustion overwhelmed her. Weeks of late shifts, legal debts, and the strain of Charles Vanderbilt's confrontation had drained her. Her hands trembled, a fever creeping in, unnoticed until Clara forced her to sit. Clara said, "You are burning up, girl," pressing a cool cloth to Elena's forehead. "You need a doctor now." Elena protested weakly, but Clara called Marcus, her voice firm. "Get here, she is sick, and I am not asking." Marcus arrived within the hour, finding Elena pale and shivering, Arya and Luna clinging to her. "Mom, you are scaring us," Arya said, her usual fire dimmed by fear. Luna's eyes were wide, her sketchbook forgotten. Marcus knelt beside them. "I am taking her to the hospital. You stay with Clara." "No," Elena murmured, struggling to stand. "I am fine." "You are not," Marcus said, his voice gentle but unyielding. "Let me help them." Elena relented, too weak to argue. At the hospital, tests revealed severe fatigue and a respiratory infection, worsened by stress. "You need rest," the doctor said, his tone softer than the one who judged her during Luna's scare. "No work for at least a week." Elena nodded, despair rising, missing shifts meant unpaid bills. Marcus stayed, arranging for Clara to watch the girls, his presence steady but unobtrusive. Back at her apartment, Elena rested, Marcus bringing soup and medicine, respecting her space. Arya and Luna hovered, their worry palpable. "Why is he helping?" Arya whispered to Luna, her voice suspicious. "Because he cares," Luna said softly, sketching Elena's tired face. "Maybe he always did." Arya called a family meeting that evening, and her petite frame commanded the living room. "We need to talk about Dad," she said, glaring at Marcus. "You hurt Mom. You missed everything. Why should we trust you?" Marcus sat, hands clasped, meeting her gaze. "You should not trust me yet. I failed your mother and you. I let my father's fears control me, and believed lies about her. I found out he hid her letters, ones she sent to tell me about you. I was wrong, and I am trying to be better, but you decide if I am worth trusting." Luna held up a drawing, a family, fractured but whole, with Marcus at the edge. "You said we are your family. Prove it." "I will," Marcus said, his voice raw. I swear to you both, I will not leave again." Arya crossed her arms. "Words are easy. What if you hurt us like you hurt Mom?" "If I do," Marcus said, "you can shut me out. I will respect it. But I am here and I am staying." The girls exchanged a glance, their silent twin bond weighing his words. "Okay," Arya said finally, "but we are watching you." Elena, propped on pillows, watched the exchange, her fevered mind processing slowly. Marcus's sincerity cracked her defenses further, but Charles's revelation about the letters lingered, a fresh wound. She'd written to him, desperate for a chance, and his father had buried them, ensuring her isolation. The betrayal was not just Marcus's, it was a family's. The next day Marcus faced Charles at the Vanderbilt estate, a cold mansion of marble and glass. "You hid her letters," Marcus said, his voice low, dangerous. "You made me believe she was a liar." Charles leaned back in his leather chair, unrepentant. "I protected you. Women like her are parasites. You are too soft, Marcus, letting this distract you from the empire." "They are my daughters," Marcus said, slamming his fist on the desk. "Elena is their mother, stronger than you will ever understand. You do not control me anymore." Charles's eyes narrowed. "Walk away from this, and you walk away from the company." "Then I walk," Marcus said, turning for the door. "My family is worth more than your legacy." The news broke the next morning, a tabloid headline screaming, "CEO ditches empire for secret daughters." Paparazzi swarmed Elena's apartment, cameras flashing as she shielded Arya and Luna. Marcus arrived, pushing through the crowd, his face set. "I am sorry," he said, ushering them inside. "I did not expect this." "You should have," Elena snapped, her voice hoarse from illness. "Your world does this, turns our lives into a spectacle." "I will fix it," Marcus said, calling his PR team to deflect the press. But the damage was done. Arya and Luna faced whispers at school, classmates taunting them about their rich dad. Arya snapped back, fierce as ever, but Luna retreated, her sketches darker, jagged lines of anger and fear. Elena, recovering slowly, called Reyes. "Can we stop this? The publicity, the harassment? It is public now," Reyes said. "Courts will lean toward Marcus if he pushes again. He has resources and the media paints him as a redeemed hero." Elena's stomach sank. The narrative was slipping from her control, her daughters caught in a storm she'd fought to avoid. That night, Arya organized another meeting, her voice steady despite her fear. "We do not want to be famous," she said to Marcus. "We want our life back." "I know," Marcus said, guilt etching his face. "I am working on it. I stepped away from the company to protect you, to be here without strings." Luna looked up, her voice soft. "Did you mean it? About us being your family?" "Every word," Marcus said, meeting her eyes. "I am not perfect, but I am yours if you will have me." The girls nodded, a tentative acceptance. Elena watched, her heart torn. Marcus was trying, but the world he came from, his father, the media, threatened to unravel everything. She pulled him aside after the girls slept. "Your father and the press are your mess. Please clean it up, or I will take them and disappear again." "I will," Marcus said, his voice firm. "I am not losing you three, not again." He hired security to keep the paparazzi at bay, issued a statement claiming privacy for his daughters, and worked with Reyes to shield Elena legally. But Charles struck back, leaking stories painting Elena as a schemer who'd hidden his grandchildren for profit. The lies stung, echoing the judgment she'd faced for years as a single mother of color in a small town. Arya overheard a news report, her face crumpling. "Is that what people think of Mom?" "No," Elena said, pulling her close. "They do not know us. We know the truth." Luna showed Marcus a new drawing, a storm, but with a small house standing firm. "This is us," she said. "We are stronger than they are." Marcus nodded, tears in his eyes. "You are, and I am learning to be." The public reckoning had exposed their fragile bond to the world, testing Marcus's promises. Elena felt the weight of every eye, every whisper, but her daughter's strength anchored her. Marcus was fighting for them, not with money, but with action. It wasn't enough to erase the past, but it was a start. The battle was not over, and Charles's shadow loomed, but for now, they stood together, facing the storm as a family, however imperfect. Elena stood in her small living room. Aria and Luna sprawled on the couch, their laughter filling the space as they recounted their day at school. The weight of the past weeks, Charles's threats, the media storm, Elena's illness, had settled into a cautious calm. Marcus's efforts to shield them from the press had worked. The paparazzi had retreated after his public plea for privacy. But Elena remained vigilant, her trust in Marcus fragile, built on actions rather than promises. They were meeting for dinner tonight, a tentative step toward defining their patchwork family. Clara and Sophia would join a circle of support Elena hadn't expected to need. Marcus arrived at 6, carrying a simple board game Aria had mentioned wanting. No flash, just thoughtfulness. Luna eyed it approvingly, her sketchbook open to a new drawing of their apartment, now including Marcus at the edge, a hesitant figure in their world. She said, "You are getting better at this," a rare smile breaking through. Aria grinned, snatching the game. "You better not suck at this one, Dad." The word "Dad" slipped out, unguarded, and the room stilled. Aria froze, her cheeks flushing, but Marcus's eyes softened. "I will try not to," he said, his voice thick. "Let's see if I can keep up." Elena's heart clenched at the moment, a crack in the wall she'd built. They drove to a cozy restaurant, which Elena chose for its warmth, not Marcus's wealth. Clara and Sophia were already there, their presence grounding the evening. Over pizza and lemonade, Aria recounted her latest debate win, her hands animated, while Luna shared a sketch of a classmate, her quiet pride evident. Marcus listened, asking questions that showed he'd remembered their passions, Aria's love for logic, Luna's eye for detail. Clara nudged Elena, whispering, "He is not half bad now, is he?" Elena managed a small smile. "He is trying." Sophia caught her eye, her expression gentle. "He told me about the letters and how our father hid them." "I am sorry, Elena. You deserved better from all of us." "It is done," Elena said, her voice steady. "I built a life without him. That is enough." But Sophia's words lingered, a reminder of the pain Charles had caused. Marcus had cut ties with his father, walking away from the Vanderbilt empire to protect his daughters. The choice had cost him, but he wore it lightly, his focus on Aria and Luna unwavering. After dinner, they walked to a nearby park, the girls running ahead to a playground lit by soft streetlights. Marcus and Elena lingered on a bench, watching them climb and swing. "I need to say something," Marcus began, his voice low. "I want to be more than a visitor in their lives, and in yours if you will let me." Elena tensed, her guard rising. "What does that mean?" "I love them," Marcus said, his eyes on the girls. "And I care about you, Elena, not because of the past, but because of who you are now, the mother you are, the strength you have shown. I know I hurt you, and I cannot erase that, but I want to build something real, together, as a family. Not to claim you, but to be with you, if you ever want that." Elena's breath caught. She'd spent years locking her heart away, surviving on pride and love for her daughters. His words stirred something dangerous, hope buried deep. "I cannot love you again," she said, her voice soft but firm. "Not like before. You broke that part of me." "I know," Marcus said, his face etched with regret. "I am not asking for love. I am asking for a chance to partner with them, and maybe, someday, for us." She studied him, searching for the man who'd dismissed her. Instead, she saw someone worn by his mistakes, trying to rebuild from ashes. "I do not know if I can trust you," she said, "but I see you with them. They are starting to trust you. That matters." "It is a start," Marcus said, a faint smile breaking through. "I will take it." Aria and Luna ran back, breathless. "Can we do this again?" Aria asked, her eyes bright. "Like all of us, together?" "Yeah," Luna added, clutching her sketchbook. "It feels right." Elena nodded, her throat tight. "We can, babies. We will." They returned to the apartment, Marcus helping carry the girls' things. At the door, Aria tugged his sleeve. "You are okay, Dad," she said, the word deliberate now, a gift. Luna hugged him, quick but real, before slipping inside. "Thank you," Elena said, her voice soft. "For fighting for them, for leaving your father behind, "Thank you for letting me," Marcus said. "I will not stop." The door closed, and Elena leaned against it, tears falling silently. The girl's acceptance of Marcus, their small steps toward him, felt like a bridge she hadn't expected to cross. She didn't love him yet, but the hate was gone, replaced by a fragile possibility. Weeks later, they moved to a new home, a modest house Marcus helped secure, not with his wealth, but by co-signing a loan Elena could repay. It was practical, not a handout, respecting her independence. Arya claimed a room for debates, Luna a corner for painting. Clara visited, bringing homemade cookies, while Sophia became a regular, her warmth a steady presence. One evening, Arya staged a final family trial, her voice mock serious. "We, the jury, find Marcus Vanderbilt not guilty of being a total jerk anymore." The girls giggled, Luna holding up a drawing of them all. Elena, Marcus, Clara, Sophia. A family whole despite its cracks. "You passed," Luna said, handing Marcus the sketch. "You can stay." Marcus laughed, tears in his eyes. "I am honored." Elena watched, her heart lighter. She didn't love Marcus, but respected him, which was enough for now. They sat together, playing Arya's board game, laughter filling the new house. Outside, the world moved on, the media frenzy fading, Charles's influence gone. They were not perfect, not traditional, but they were theirs. In the quiet of the night, Elena tucked the girls in, their faces peaceful. "You think you will ever forgive him?" Luna asked, her eyes searching. "I am learning to," Elena said honestly. "Not for him, but for us. To move forward. That is enough," Arya murmured, drifting to sleep. Elena sat between their beds, watching them breathe. Marcus was no longer a ghost, but a man proving himself daily. In his new apartment, smaller without the Vanderbilt wealth, Marcus stared at Luna's drawing, now framed on his wall. He'd lost an empire, but gained a family, which was worth everything. They would face challenges, school dramas, growing pains, the world's judgments, but together, as this strange, resilient unit, they would endure. Elena sent Marcus a message, accurate and straightforward. "Thank you for staying for them." His reply was instant. "Always for all of you." The resolution was not a fairy tale, but it was real. A foundation strong enough for Arya and Luna's futures, and maybe Elena's.